right, here we go. Welcome back to the Game Smash Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ruin Liberty, and with me is...
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And today, we got some stuff. We've got PlayStation Plus, Games with Gold. Got the Overwatch patch. Yay! We got Monster Hunter launch trailer, reveals Elder Dragons, and third beta announced. And then we're going to do our awards. We're going to do our official Game Smash Awards for most disappointing, biggest surprise, most anticipated, and then Game of the Year. Before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. So, I continue...
Before we get into that, let's wish all the viewers a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Time,
Okay. All right. I gotta get back in my groove. It's been a while. Currently, in the wonderful weather of Canada, it is negative 30. And it's just continuing. I don't understand how I haven't turned it to a popsicle at this point. So it's all a blur. It's all just a big blur. But yes, we're wishing everyone a happy new year, happy holidays. We hope you guys had a wonderful, Christmas break. It's officially, it hasn't hit yet. It hasn't hit yet that it's 2018.
Sorry for cutting you off. And for the Americans there, negative 30 in Canada is minus 22 over there. So.
Yeah. So it's bad. It's bad.
It's cool.
Yeah. But Happy New Year to everyone. Sorry for the delay on this podcast. It's been a combination of a lot of bullshit that has been out of my control, and also I am aware, Wonderful Lobster Monk has pointed out that yes, the current recording setup needs a little bit improvement, because the room that I am currently in is a lot bigger than the room that I was in before, so it is echoey. So I'm trying something different right now. I currently have blankets over top of the speakers to try and reduce, because currently that is the best thing that I have. I might go and get some foam to kind of reduce the echo a little bit, but that'll be fixed in the future. But enough of that. What I played this week. I played Nier Automata. Played some more. Game's still great. Game's fantastic. Couple things I will say that I have noticed playing it. I find it's one of those games where it might be better to skip the side quests. It's one of those games where I find the side quests are they're kind of boilerplate to a certain extent. They're very...
I don't know what that means.
Okay, I'll say it in a different way that makes much more sense. They're kind of generic, it's like a fetch quest, or go fight a bunch of guys or guard a couple guys. But the thing that's weird about them is that the stories that they tell in the side quests are interesting. It's just what you're doing in the side quests is not. So it ends up feeling more like a chore than actual fun. So that's a little bit disappointing. But once I found that I just started focusing on just going for the main quest line, the game is a lot more faster paced. It's a lot more interesting. I'm currently in part C, I guess you would call it, or playthrough C. And it starts out strong. The intro sequence is fantastic. And it really sets up the stage for what's to come. And it gives you a lot of options. I really like that. This is something that they've improved a lot from the first Nier. In the first Nier, you beat the game once, and then the second time you beat it, it's very different. But then when you go to beat it the third and the fourth time, it's not that much different, right? So getting the other two endings of that game is a little bit of a slog. But I find with this, getting every single ending is not a slog. It is much more interesting, because basically you get to play a different character every single time. And every single character that you play has different moves, weaknesses, benefits. Currently I'm playing a character that has a taunt. It's awesome. She kind of points her sword, says something cool, and then the enemies nearby all kind of rage for a moment, so you take more damage from...
Bayonetta.
Yeah, kind of like Bayonetta, yeah, basically. And then she has a limiter release, which is awesome, where she basically goes into a rage mode, and then you get to see probably one of the coolest effects in the game. And yeah, so it is a really a lot of fun, but I will say this, that it's I would say if you really want to do the side quests, go for it. But if you find that after doing like one or two that you're not enjoying them, just don't even bother. A lot of them lead to some really interesting conversations, but I don't think they're necessary to be done to enjoy the story, you know?
Okay.
So that's kind of that. Played some more Secret of Mana, slowly getting to understand how to actually play that game, because it has the problem, and I think I talked about this last time, it has the problem where the game just flat out, it doesn't give you a tutorial. It barely tells you how to play it, because it's an old game. It was 92, right? So there's
Secret
a lot
of
of...
Mana?
Yeah, Secret of Mana, yes, for the SNES. And
SNES.
it takes a long time to figure things out because of that, but that might be just me being like from this generation in which a lot of things are explained nowadays. Yeah. But the game's still pretty good. It's interesting because I'm enjoying it, but you can feel its age to a certain extent, right? There's a certain, like, the way that the controls are in the game, there's a certain feeling of like this feels a bit old, you know how there's some games that you revisit and they just kind of feel old. You know what I mean by that? Yeah. It kind of has that to that, so that's a bit of a bummer, but game's still good. I'm progressing, but like, for example, it took us like hours to figure out that you could hit a button to change characters while playing that game, because it never explains how to switch characters in the game. It's just something you have to figure out. But anyway, played that. That's pretty much it. What about you, Fawaz?
Okay, so so this month has pretty much just been finding ways to kill time until the 26th of January.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you know what's a really good way to kill time? Let's finish Persona 5.
Hey!
Yeah, so, because I know if I don't finish it now, if I don't get really close to the end now, I'm probably not going to finish it until January of 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
So
yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's get crack-a-lacking on that. So I went back to Futaba's Palace. I cleared that. Then I did a bunch of Persona stuff, high school shit. Then I just cleared the next palace. So I have the full party now.
Yeah.
And the story is heating up. One thing I will say, two things, one positive and one negative. So first of all, this game, it's just everything you want in a sequel. I'm playing the game and I'm just like, I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but whatever, repetition. I'm just playing it and I'm like, it's just like a better Persona 4.
Yeah.
When you play a sequel and you can't go back to the first one, because this one, there's just a bunch of things that have been added that just make your life so much easier.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting there and it's just like Persona 4, except better.
Yeah.
So I really, really enjoy that. One thing I don't enjoy is, and this I think this probably applies to Persona 4 as well, is the dialogue can get very unnecessarily wordy and very on the nose and heavy-handed sometimes. Like
it's Japanese storytelling.
It's Japanese storytelling at its finest.
And sorry, keep going.
Okay, there was one point specifically. So this whole dungeon, the theme is that it's overworked people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, that's fine. So there's one spot where there's a machine and there's three options and you have to pick the right option to make the machine stop working for a set amount of time so you can pass a specific area.
Yeah.
So the first option was, I can't remember what it was, but it was irrelevant. It gave you like 5 seconds. Then the second option was like, make them take lunch. So they take lunch and it gives them 30 seconds. And the last option was work unpaid overtime, right? So I hit the button and then they're like, we already work unpaid overtime. So that was to do anything, right? And I was like, that's really funny, right? That's a really funny joke. Let's leave it at that. But then one character, Ryuji, is like, we already work unpaid overtime. What does that mean? I'm like, I'm sitting there like, I thought it was pretty self-explanatory. And this other character is like, but you know that they're just so used to living like this.
And then it goes on a little bit, yeah.
It's so like, oh my god, this is so heartbreaking. And I'm like, okay, you guys took a really hilarious joke. Like, you just completely ruined it. And like, I find myself skipping a lot of dialogue now, because it's not just that it's that they keep reiterating shit, right? So they add a new person to the party and then they start explaining everything.
So that is I will say this: you're at the point where I feel like the story kind of evens out a little bit better, because that's the weirdest part of the story for me. Because I feel that Haru shows up really late, and it's weird having her be included. I still enjoyed her segment, but I feel that she's included so late into the game. Like in Persona 4, there were some characters that were included to the group late in the game. Naoto's the one that I think of the most. But Naoto was still there at the beginning. Like closer. She was there during Kanji's story. So you got to see little glimpses of the character before you got to recruit her. Whereas with Haru, you only really got to see her maybe once.
I get what you mean.
Once or twice, right? You do see her before, you do see her before, but not as much as Naoto in comparison. But yeah, that's a thing that even, honestly, as much as I love Persona, like sometimes the dialogue can be a little bit heavy-handed, but other times, and specifically later on, there are moments that I fucking love how some of the stuff is written. Like, it's really, really good. But I can't talk about it because it's spoilery.
Spoiler. Yeah. I mean, I should be able to finish it. Apparently, I'm really far in. I'm about 60 hours in, so I think there's probably, I don't know, maybe 3 dungeons left.
I could tell you how many dungeons there are, but you are I would say you're pretty much at the back half now. Like, okay. You're pretty much near like the conclusion. It is interesting though. I will say this is that like I really really do like Persona 5 a lot, and but the thing is that it's weird where I feel it's similar to 3, and you never played 3. And that was Persona 3 in particular, in which I feel like Persona 4, because it had a slightly more simpler story, it actually kind of used that to its advantage. Yeah. Whereas this is a lot like 3. It takes a lot of things that I really really liked from 3, and there's a particular moment that's coming up that I think is probably one of the best in the series. But I will say this, part of the reason that, they have to explain a lot of stuff is because the plot in this one is a lot more complicated.
It is a lot more complicated. I'll give it that. But yeah, you know what? This isn't even a Persona thing. This is just a Japanese storytelling thing. Yeah. I think I was complaining to Jason about this a little while back, about how so many animes I've watched, they just feel this needs to explain absolutely everything in meticulous detail every single time, and I'm just like, for God's sake.
Well, it's like you think about Dragon Ball, and it's like you think about how many times like people would like explain how powerful this guy is, and they would go on for like 20 minutes about, he's just the biggest, most powerfulest guy ever. Oh my God, let me talk to you. Let me sit you down, son. This is gonna take a while.
I literally gave Dragon Ball as an example when I was complaining about that to Jason. But yeah, I mean, all of this, I mean, I'm still enjoying the game. It's still a lot of fun. I love the fact that the social links, I'm just always going to call them that. Even when Persona 8 is out and they're calling it whatever they want to call them, I'm always going to call it social links.
Social links, yeah.
I love the fact that all the social links give you some kind of benefits now. In Persona 4, it was party members, and then everybody else, you just got cool cutscenes and you learn more about the characters. Yeah. But the party members were the ones to give you benefits. But not everyone gets you benefits, and the benefits make sense, you know?
Yes.
And they fit the characters. I also like the fact that they've gone out of their way to make every single character's recruitment feel different. You know, like in Persona 4, I think I complained about this a long time ago. I was like that it started to get repetitive. You know, you go to the character's dungeon, you meet the character meets the persona, they're like, oh, you're not me, you fight the persona, you recruit them. It literally happens for every single character, to the point where I think at the end, even Kanji pointed out that this just keeps
happening. That's the line that stuck with me the longest. Fuck it, it's just gonna happen anyway.
So yeah, I love the fact that they mixed it up. You know, like in the first dungeon, you recruit like 3 people. I think you had Kanji, not Kanji,
Ryuji. There you go.
Might as well be Kanji, Ryuji, and
Morgana. You really?
She's voiced by Alpha.
I know. It's actually really funny because she voices another character called Cube, and when I realized that, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like Morgana anymore.
But yeah, so I do like that. And all in all, man, I'm really enjoying the game, and I'm looking forward to finishing
Yeah.
it. But yeah, let's not dwell on that too much. Let's get into this news. There's one piece of news I'm really excited to get to, but let's get through this restaurant first.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Well, it's PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold. I don't know what it is. I'm still thinking about the next part, so why don't you take it away from us?
so yeah, sorry.
You got this.
So we got the announcement of our PlayStation Plus and our Games with Gold games for the month of January. So PlayStation Plus, we get Deus Ex Mankind Divided for the PS4, Batman the Telltale series for the PS4, Sacred 3 and the Book of Unwritten Tales for the PS3, Psychopaths Mandatory Happiness and Uncanny Valley for the PS4 and Vita, and Star Blood Arena for PSVR. And then Games with Gold, we got The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing III. I could have sworn they've gotten this game already.
I feel like we have, but whatever.
Yeah. Zombie, Xbox One, Tomb Raider Underworld, and Army of Two. So all in all, this is a really good month for Sony. But you know what this month made me realize?
What?
I don't care anymore.
This is how this point comes every time we talk.
Because, bro, here's the thing, right? You know, like 2 years ago, when we were constantly complaining about PlayStation Plus, I can't speak for you, but I didn't have anything to play, right?
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of games out and stuff, so I was like, wow, you know, this collection is shit.
Right.
But now, like my backlog, like I'm rushing through Persona 5 right now.
Yeah.
Like I still haven't finished XCOM 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bought the XCOM 2 DLC. I haven't finished The Witcher 3's DLC. Oh, and by the way, in like 3 weeks, Monster Hunter World and Dragon Ball FighterZ are coming out.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to buy Shadow of the Colossus because I know I'm not going to bother. Horizon Zero Dawn I didn't buy. Nier Automata I didn't buy. Like Divinity Original Sin. There's so many games that I have to get through that I'm going to download Deus Ex because I'm like, well,
it's a free game. It's a free game, and it's like you're having. You know what you're having? You're having the problem that I've had for like a year and a half, where it's like I have too much shit to play. I can't do this. I have 2 Switch games that are still in the goddamn box, and I can't play them because I need to finish Nier. Like I need to get.
I mean, other than the fact that you have too much money and.
Well, okay, I will say this: I got Odyssey for like $10 because of the points.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, "Fuck it, why not? I'll get an $80 game for $10. Thank you very much." So. Yeah, but yeah, I know what you mean by it. I will say this, is that Deus Ex and Batman, I think, are 2 pretty decent titles. From what I've heard about Batman, is that Batman is one of the better ones overall for the Telltale games. And Deus Ex Mankind Divided, I really enjoyed that game up till the point where the save corruption happened. So,
I forgot about.
Yeah, you forgot about that. Yeah. That's why I never beat it, because I got really damn close to beating it, but then when that save corruption happened, I couldn't. Because there was so much progress that was lost that I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it.
No, I feel you. I mean, if I lost my save progress in Persona 5 right now, I can't guarantee that I'd ever finish that game. Because that's like 60 hours. That's 60 hours not counting the number of times that I died and lost 20 hours of progress.
Yeah.
I just, the 60 hours of my life is just gone. You know, so, and I'm supposed to just start again.
Yeah, that was me when my PS3 blew up. That was a rough time. Sorry, but yeah.
I was gonna say, maybe I'll try this out over the summer. You know, like when the releases obviously dry out and the hype for Monster Hunter and Dragon Ball FighterZ kind of dies down a little bit, then maybe I'll try this out in like the summer or something. Like, hey, who knows? Maybe I'll hate Monster Hunter and Dragon Ball FighterZ, and then I'll play this in February. But oh yeah, and then the Xbox games are man. Anyway, so. You gotta get to the next bit of
You
news.
want to take it away from Waz? Let's just get it over with.
Okay. So there's a big patch on the Overwatch PTR, and just judging from Palace's tone of voice, I'm sure you can guess. I'm sure you viewers have some idea as to how this patch goes. So first of all, Junkrat got a little bit of a nerf. His concussion mine will now deal less damage to targets farther away from the explosion center. So they give it a bit of damage fall off. It's pretty intense actually. I watched a video, and if you don't hit them directly with the mine, it doesn't do a lot of damage. This is a very good change. This is from day one when they made the concussion mine change. I was like, that is not a great idea.
Well, you know where I noticed it the most was in Free for All, because I jumped onto Free for All and it was like 10 Junkrats, because he's really strong in Free for All. Because he can lay traps, he's got good movement, he's got good mobility, and because a lot of the maps are kind of smaller, using concussion mines is a lot easier to do.
Yeah, you spam a bunch of shit into a corner, get some damage, fire for concussion mine, profits. But anyway, no one cares about Junkrat. The big change in this patch is the old girl Mercy. So Valkyrie, the ultimate. The duration got reduced from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. The speed boost that she got in Guardian Angel has been decreased to 50%. It no longer grants a bonus charge of Resurrection, and Resurrection is no longer instant while she's in Valkyrie. So I'll let you go first, Dada, because I know you have some things to say about it.
That sums up my feeling, really. That guttural, like, just why. So, okay. The 20 to 15 seconds, I'm like, okay, that's a bit much, but sure, whatever. The 50% less movement, that's a lot. I don't think that's necessary. She is really weak in her normal state. She's actually quite easy to kill in her normal state. So that I found really unnecessary. But the res is no longer instant in Valkyrie and there is no second charge is absolutely unnecessary. I don't understand. Literally, I can't think of any reason as to why they would take that away. Because I talked about this when I was playing Mercy, is that Mercy is now very weak in her normal state, but she is strong in her ultimate state. And that makes up for the abysmal, channel time on her res. But the fact that you've taken that away from her ultimate, it makes it, like I talked about this, the channeling makes the character less fun to play. And that's not a design mantra that I think Blizzard should be following with their heroes. Especially my main. So I'm really frustrated right now because the only reason I see this is because it's like I don't understand if there was an explanation, if somebody could explain to me why they had to get rid of the instant res and the second charge in a concise fashion. I would be able to accept it, but I can't. Okay. I can't see it. Can you've got to have a theory. You got to have something for me, right?
No, not even a theory. Here, I'll break it down for you, right?
Okay.
So first of all, duration. 20 seconds to 15 seconds. The longest ult in the game right now, prior to Valkyrie, is Molten Core, which lasts 10 seconds, right?
Right, yeah.
Valkyrie lasted twice as much. Even now, with the nerf, she still has the longest lasting ultimate in the entire game, right?
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. No, I'm agreeing with you.
She still has the longest lasting ultimate in the other game. Let's not forget that, once she activates Valkyrie, she can heal multiple characters at the same time. Mm-hmm. She can damage boost multiple characters at the same time. And by the way, they also didn't change what I think is the most problematic part of Valkyrie, and that's the fact that damage she takes doesn't stop her healing, right? Mm-hmm. So it makes her borderline unkillable in Valkyrie. That's what I think that's the core issue with Valkyrie, but that's another discussion for another day. They didn't even change that. So here's the thing. Okay, she pops Valkyrie. She can still heal her teammates really well. Mm-hmm. She can still damage boost multiple people. She's still really hard to kill because, like I said, they didn't take that thing away. Yeah. She's easier to hit now because she lost the speed. But, I mean, the speed boost from Guardian Angel was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, the big things. Resurrect no longer being instant and not granting a bonus charge. With all the things I just listed. Okay, so here's the core issue, right? Now we can dispute whether or not the changes were the correct changes, but what I will say is that right now Mercy is literally like let me explain how bad it is. If you are a healer and you are playing ranked, you are not allowed to play anybody except Mercy. At any rank, if you pick anybody else, people are going to your teammate. People start throwing if healers don't pick Mercy. That's just how strong she is right now.
Really?
But people are like, don't even waste our time with your Zenyatta or your Ana. You know, if you aren't going to pick Mercy, we're not even going to bother. Like, I think, let me put it this way. The Mercy players are upset. Understandably, you know, that's just how nerfs go a lot of times, right?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yes. Other healer, like, you will not talk to anyone that plays any other healer that is not happy about this. Because it's not even, because here's the thing, right? You know, you have strong characters like trying to give a good example. Like, with Genji, when Genji was strong, right?
Yes.
But Genji was never so strong that people got mad at you for playing Tracer.
Yeah, that's not fair. That's not fun, because it's like, I want to play Tracer maybe because she's not the most viable, but because I want to play Tracer because I enjoy playing her. And it's funny. Yeah. It's funny because, like, this is the weird thing that happened, because, like, Mercy before the rework, I would say was strong, but I wouldn't say consider her top tier at that time. But I still liked playing her the most. I liked her kit. I liked the way she played. I liked flying from person to person and healing them were nice and fast. So I enjoyed that play style. So when they changed and gave her the rework, they gave her so much crazy shit that it was borderline God mode when you were playing Mercy when the rework got, like, you know, launched. And now it feels like, well, she's in God mode now, and then they're slowly taking away everything that made the rework interesting to me. And the thing that bothers me the most is that, yeah, you are right in the sense where the problem is that, yeah, people are picking Mercy all the time because she is still the strongest. Her kit is amazing. The fact that her bringing back characters is now a ability, not an ultimate, is a big deal. And it changed a lot of the dynamic of the game, because then it became Mercy is the ultimate sustain. And especially on defense. I think the problem is that Mercy's not really great on certain match types. Like, I don't personally find her that great on, like, King of the Hill. Like, depending on the map. But I personally don't find her that great. And the real problem I have with Res no longer being instant and you need to channel is that Mercy, whenever I'm channeling, I am pretty much accepted the fact that I am probably going to get annihilated in the next 2 seconds. Because you're a sitting duck. It's the same problem that when you were healing with freaking, actually, it's even worse. Because I think about when, like, you know, Roadhog, right? Remember when he used to heal and he was stuck in place and then he was basically sitting there? But at least with Roadhog, you could find a place to hide, be stuck and heal, and then go back to, you know, your Roadhog ways. With Mercy, a lot of the people that die are in the battlefield. You are currently under fire. So when you have to channel, it makes everything suck because you are essentially anchored to the ground. And the coolest thing about Mercy is her ability to fly around the map and kind of heal people. It's the thing that makes her fun to play. And I really didn't like the channeling, but I accepted it because it's like, okay, they've kept her instant for her ultimate, which is a fair compromise. But now that I'm not getting that, I'm like, this is just, I don't know.
Here's the thing. Resurrection, like, okay, so here's the part, right? And I feel like the issue here is that Blizzard started people off with an instant res, right? Because you know, what you're saying makes sense, right? But for me, what I'm seeing is that ability. That is not an ability that I feel you should just be able to do. You know, I feel like there should be some risk involved in bringing teammates back from the dead.
No, I know.
You know, I feel like there should be some thought in, you know, you're like, okay, my Reinhardt just died. in the middle of your enemy team,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to res him because that's going to cost me my life, you know? As opposed to, okay, my Ana died in the back lines. I'm going to go behind Reinhardt. I'm going to hide behind this statue here and bring up the Ana. Yes, I'm going to be a sitting duck for a few seconds, but if I use the terrain properly, then maybe, maybe I can survive. And then, okay, sure, maybe a Tracer peeks through and murders you while you're doing it.
Yeah.
But it's like, but then I feel like that is, and obviously there's a bias here because I don't actually play Mercy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like I'll keep it 100% real, you know, like I don't.
You do make an interesting point in the sense where maybe it wouldn't hurt as much if it wasn't instant. If it always had a channel time, if it was never instant, and that's a good point. Is that it feels it's not just a number, you know. Because it's like when you get nerfs to numbers, like Ana's nerf to her grenade, or like Zenyatta's nerf to the Discord orb, it's like you can feel it for sure. But when it's changing an ability that was like just like snap of the fingers,
I feel you.
But you are right in the sense where it's like, like if it wasn't instant and I feel like you do make a good point where it's like the channel it should be risky. It certainly should be. Maybe part of the problem I have is that a lot of the games I play, I have trouble coordinating with my team. So I end up with a lot of dead people that are in the open. So I can't even do anything. So I end up sitting on res in my normal state a lot. So
but I mean, like, because for me, I'm like that. Okay, even in its current state, and this goes to your point about coordination, right? So rest takes 1.5 seconds. Zarya's bubble lasts 2 seconds, right? You have a Zarya on your team, just simple coordination, right? I mean, sure, it won't save you all the time. There'll be days where you get stuck, it blows up the bubble, and then you get hooked immediately after that.
Yeah.
But like, I guess all I'm saying is that I feel like in the long run, all these changes, like, because res has been a problematic ability from day one, from day minus 200. Before when I was watching the game in closed beta, res was a problem, right? So I feel like this is a step in the right direction. Maybe because it's 1.5 seconds, I think. Maybe they reduce that. Maybe they increase it. Thanos like, what? Watch yourself for us.
Wait, why would you increase the channel time?
No, I'm saying because you're balancing, right? So maybe they tweak, and then they figure out that sweet spot is what I mean.
Oh.
And to find that sweet spot. But like, I do feel like it should not be instant. In every case where it's been instant, it's been a problem. Okay. Like even with Valkyrie, like someone I see, he found a stat. He was like that with the new Mercy, people are getting off more reses now than they were with the old Mercy, the one that could res entire dead teams. Yeah. Because in Valkyrie, it was you could build Valkyrie so fast because Mercy heals. She heals so quickly, right? And I'm like, Ana, you can't miss.
They're that, and Ana, you have to aim your shots to heal your team and keep everything full.
Yeah, and then like Ana, you can't miss. Unlike Moira, it doesn't take a resource. You just heal very quickly. So you build Valkyrie very quickly, and then Valkyrie reset your resurrection charge, and then you got 3 reses during Valkyrie, right? So was it 3 or was it 2? Whatever. Let's say 2.
It was 2. Yeah.
Let's say 2. That's 3 reses every ult, and unlike before, it wasn't like hitting res wasn't a dead character anymore, right? You just res. It's actually very difficult for people to kill you while you are resing now. So like that's 3 every single ultimate at least, right? So the number just went through the roof. People were resing almost double as much as they used to.
Yeah.
So now, because I feel like red shouldn't. I feel like Mercy should be designed around everything but her res. I feel like her res should be that thing that she can do. Because, okay, like, a basic example I can give you is Zarya, right?
Yeah.
Zarya, Graviton Search is an insane ability, right? It's like Team Wipe Central. You get grabbed in a Graviton and you don't have a Transcendence, your team is probably dead. Right. But you could take Graviton away from Zarya and she'd still be a good character, right? And I feel like that's been the issue with Mercy for so long, is that she's so reliant on res that they they've had to, when they make Rez too weak, Mercy becomes too weak. When they make Rez too strong, Mercy becomes too strong.
Yeah.
And Rez is just not fun to play against, right?
Yeah.
So I feel the more they move away from Rez and the more they focus on other things with Mercy, the happier everybody will be in
Do
the
you
long
think?
run.
Yeah. So you think this is an interesting thing? Like, do you think it would be better if they took Rez and replaced it with something completely different, almost?
I don't think so. I like the idea. I like the idea of there being a character who can bring people from the dead. And I think of the characters in the game, it fits Mercy the most.
Well,
Now,
yeah,
it's probably
yeah.
because I met Mercy. It's probably because Mercy was the character that I met that had Rez. If that makes sense, right? So I'm like, well, obviously it fits her.
Yeah.
I think they should keep it. I don't think it's flawed. I just think it's something that you should just like. The harder they make it to pull off, I think the better it'll be long term because it is a really powerful ability, right? But then you don't have to find that balance between. Okay,
Yeah. You want to kind of like find the sweet spot. Absolutely. You know what I was honestly thinking is that if they're going to change the time from 20 to 15, give her less movement and make it no longer instant and you don't get a second charge, I would say you need to make the channel time slightly shorter. Or, you know what you need to do? You need to give her, you know what would be nice if she had a little bit of movement. Keep the channel time the same, but give her like a super slow ability to kind of move a little bit so that you're not just stuck there like a statue.
Or the movement penalty. Yeah. And this is what balance is, right? They tried this out, and because here's the thing: when they did the last change, Mercy players were complaining. They're saying it was too much. Then it turned out she was still extremely strong. Yeah. So after this, she might still be really strong, and then they're like, okay, they need to nerf her some more, right? Or and they do this, and it's like, okay, now she's too weak. Then, okay, maybe let's take away the movement penalty when she's doing Rez,
Yeah.
So now she can still move normally, but it just takes her like a second and a half. She's too strong. Okay, let's increase the channel time. We'll make it 2 seconds now. Okay, she's too weak. Let's reduce the channel time. Make it 1.711. So it's a process, and I feel like you need to find that sweet spot where it's risky to use Rez, but it's not so risky that Mercy players just never use Rez. They're like, well, this ability is useless. It's like an instant. It's like I hit the button and I die. It's like McCree with Deadeye. Most McCrees don't use it because it's like.
It's like, it's Han.
Exactly. You just die when you hit that. I see some McCrees use it to reload. Because if you activate Deadeye, it reloads, then you can cancel it and get like that's what I see some McCrees use it for. They use it for like an instant reload in the middle of a fight. Because other than that, it's like borderline useless.
Yeah. I will say this though, like it will be interesting to see how the changes going with Mercy. It is. I think I feel passionate about it because it's like
she's your baby.
She's my main, and it's like whenever I'm like playing Overwatch, it's like, man, who can I play that I can just play? Mercy, right? Like everyone needs a healer. Everyone needs a support, and it's always a bummer. I think I feel it the most with this because, like, I guess my biggest fear is that I have completely dropped off D.Va, like, hard, because I really don't enjoy the new bully style that D.Va has. And I understand why they changed it. It absolutely made perfect sense to me, and I understood that. Like, that made way more sense to me than this. But, like, it made the character not fun to play, and that's my biggest worry, is that if they make Mercy not fun to play, then I basically have
then you don't have anyone.
I don't have anyone left. But anyway, enough about the negative. Let's talk about some positive. We got Monster Hunter launch trailer. Reveals a bunch of Elder Dragons. This was fun for me. I'm very curious how you reacted to this, because I know all these motherfuckers.
Okay, so here's the weird thing, right? So I've been doing research on Monster Hunter because, like, I actually really enjoyed the open beta. So I'm like, okay, I've just been doing some research to try to better understand the game. So I was watching, some dude made a video of like, I watched Mojo. They made a video of top 10 Monster Hunter monsters. People were not happy with who ended up in number 1 on that list.
Who was number 1 out of curiosity?
I'll give you a hint. He's a giant pickle.
Yeah, the pickle.
Yeah, people were so mad. Yo, what's his name? Diablos wasn't even on the list.
How did Diablos not make it on the list? Jesus. All right,
I don't
continue.
know,
Continue.
but then I watched another person's list and it was like top 10 Elder Dragons, right? Because I didn't even know what Elder Dragons were. I heard people mention that Nergigante was an Elder Dragon. I was like, that sounds pretty cool. So then I did some research and I watched top 10 Elder Dragons. So I saw a couple of them. Some of them look really cool. Though this one is like a giant serpent that's like gigantic.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's from 4. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but one of the ones that I mentioned that actually looks really aesthetically cool. I forget his name. You'll help me out here, but he looks like a lion type
Oh,
thing. And
Kushladora.
yeah, and he just got announced, and he looks cool. Apparently he's really difficult, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I remember even in the older games, he was a fight. He was not, and I think it's one of the things where I think if he hits you with certain attacks, it actually gets rid of your fire resistance.
Huh.
So it's like, I'm wearing fire resistant armor. Whack. No, you're not anymore. And then fireball.
But yeah, it looks really cool. I'm really excited because like when I heard about the Elder Dragons, I'm like, this sounds so cool. You know, like this like next level monsters that you hear all these like legends about. You go, you kill them, and then you get their armor and their weapon set, and yeah, I'm actually really excited for that. But what I want to get from you is something I didn't realize that this wasn't a thing in old Monster Hunter games. But there's a moment in the trailer where what's his name? The lion dude?
Kushladora, yes.
Kushladora, and then the other Elder Dragon that they revealed, the winged one.
God. It's, Tetsura. Shit, it's the Kushladora, and then it's like Tetsura or something like that. I know it's the silver one that has the whirlwind. It's the silver one with the whirlwind.
The two of them were fighting in the arena with the hunter just there, like just chilling.
Yeah.
Has that ever been a thing?
Oh no, the concept of, I think this is something that a lot of fans are really excited, because the concept of seeing two, because back in the day monsters could fight each other, but it was very basic. Like it would basically be Rathalos could like tail whip a Kutku, and that would deal some damage, but there wasn't like any special animation or anything like that. But with this, it's like a wrestling match. Like you're seeing like two of like the sickest dragons ever. Like one that is like pure fire and lion rage, and the other one is just pure like whirlwind and storm, just like going at it. And it's like you've never, and especially you see them kind of like swirling around each other, and like really, it's so cool. It's so cool.
My favorite though was when Kushladora and Nergigante, they both get like they go like Simba, they straight up Simba and Scar go on their hind legs and just bear hug each other, and I'm like, oh shit, what do you even do when you're there? When you're the hunter that's there, what do you even do?
You just sit there and just go, well, I'm not going near that.
You know what? I can't wait. I can't wait to see the damage numbers when these dudes hit each other.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was one thing I loved about the open beta. You know, you're there, you're hitting Barrock for like 30 damage, 80 damage. I'm like, whoa, that's a critical. 100 damage, oh baby, we're cooking now. And then Diablo picks him up and body slams him and does like 500 damage. And you're like, well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know. It's like it's gonna be very interesting to see those like pit fights essentially.
Yeah.
I think they also they showed off what I think is a glimpse of Alteron, and oh buddy, Alteron is gonna be something. I have only beaten Alteron once, and we almost ran out of time, and this was with a 55-minute timer, and that was rough.
Or that's he's the one that controls all 4 elements, right?
Basically, yeah. He controls all of the elements, and he's the final boss in 3, and he's a god. He's a god amongst dragons. And but yeah, then the pickle shows up. And I laughed because even though it's like there's so many people that hate the pickle so much, but I've grown to kind of love the pickle.
What do people hate about him?
The thing about him is that he's really hard to fight, and a lot of the times what happens is that he shows up to fuck up other quests. But I don't know if that's gonna be. I don't know if that's gonna be the case in World. Because here's what would happen, right? And they introduced this concept in 3. So when you got to Plus mode, which is like the new game Plus mode, you would go redo all the quests, right? And what can happen sometimes, this is more commonplace in World, but it wasn't so commonplace in the other games. You start a hunting quest, for example. You're gonna go fight, let's say, Great Jaggeris, or like the equivalent of Great Jaggeris, right? You go and fight him, and then usually what can sometimes happen is like, oh, there's another monster on the map. It's a Kutku, or it's a Carapeco. When you're playing Plus, it's the Deviljho. He just rolls up. He's got his own music, like the music that you're usually fighting the monster with drops, and the Deviljho music starts playing, and it's like this freaking Jaws theme. And what usually happens is that at that point, you don't have the armor to fight him, so he comes along and he fucking TPKs half your goddamn party. and you have to understand, back in the day, if you die 3 times, quest is over. You fail. So what would happen is that you would have a bunch of new players who just got into New Game Plus go, hey, what's that? Oh, I just died. But honestly, I like him because he's got a really interesting mechanic. I don't know if they're going to bring this back, but I hope they do.
That he eats everything?
Well, he eats everything. So you can cook, like, paralyzed or poisoned meat and just place that on the battlefield, and in mid-battle he will literally stop and fight. Instead of fighting you, he will go and eat that, and then you could paralyze him or poison him and do, like, he's always hungry. The thing that makes him really difficult is his claws. So the thing about his claws is that if he hits you with a claw attack, not poison. Your dragon resistance is reduced to -20. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's bad. So even with, like, dragon-resistant armor, if you get hit by this debuff, it hurts, right? And the problem is, the reason why it hurts is that when you get that debuff, there's a specific attack that's literally, it's a mixture of lasers and dark energy that's pure dragon, like the dragon element. And if you get hit by that as he's shooting that across, like, the battlefield, it is like an instant death. Like, almost always instant. I've only seen a couple times where you get hit by that, and then you'll have, like, a couple pixels of health.
Damn.
So, I'm very excited to see him. And I guess that's what they've kind of announced with this trailer, is that he's going to be post-game content.
Yes. So, they've also announced that there's going to be a bunch of monsters that are going to be released as post-game content. It's all going to be free. It's all going to be free of charge, and I don't know if it's just going to be a situation where they just add him to the map, or if they add other stuff, like maybe some new. I mean, obviously they'll add him plus his armor and his weapons. Yeah. But I don't know if they're gonna add anything else. But yeah, right. I
think for now, I think what's more reasonable, I think, is what they're trying to do, which is basically couple months we'll release a new monster for you guys to fight. It'll probably be on one of the existing maps.
Yeah.
Because that's usually how DLC works for Monster Hunter, I find, is that usually it's like, okay, here's a new monster, but you're going to be fighting him on, like, an old map, essentially.
Okay, yeah. And then the last thing that they revealed is that we're getting a third beta. On the 19th of January to the 22nd. So literally, like, right up until right before the game launches, there's going to be another beta. This time is going to be all the old maps. However, they're adding one new quest where you get to fight Nergigante. That is the flagship monster, and he's the Elder Dragon. He's a brand new Elder Dragon. He's like he's on the box art and stuff. So it's going to be a 15-minute quest, which is brutal. How are you supposed to beat an Elder Dragon in 15 minutes?
That seems borderline impossible. Unless they give you, like, really good gear. I do not see that being boring. Like, it could be done. Crazier things have been done.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Nergigante is that he has a mechanic where he grows spikes out of his body, right? Yeah. As the fight goes on, the spikes on his body grow more and more. When they become, like, full-on white, you have to break them. If you don't break them, they become black and they harden, and then your attack starts bouncing. So yeah, have fun with that.
So that'll be fun, but that's cool. That's cool. So that's great for Monster Hunter. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so the moment you've all been waiting for, the official live here, Game Smash Awards for 2017. All right, you ready to get started? We're gonna start out on a positive note. Most disappointing. Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
You go first.
All right, so most disappointing game of the year for me is it should be pretty damn obvious. It's Andromeda.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Andromeda. And it's just everything about it. The release, the way that the game ran at launch, the graphics just being like not where it needed to be, the gameplay having problems with things being way too grindy, which is what I didn't want. And it's sad, and I feel like it's one of those things where it's like the reason why this game is disappointing to me is for several reasons. One, I didn't even want that much, you know? I wanted a good, solid Mass Effect game. I wanted to go back into the Mass Effect universe and just enjoy the Mass Effect that I'd grown to love. Because Mass Effect 2 is still one of my favorite games. Despite all the things that with the original trilogy, Mass Effect 2 is still one of my favorite games I've ever played. And it's so frustrating when it's like the game comes out, it's got this huge controversy over the release, and then you get news afterwards where it's like this could have been avoided. Like they pulled people off the Mass Effect team to work on Anthem, and they needed those people there. And it's even more disappointing because you see the updates to Andromeda that came afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And there was a lot that was done in those updates that fixed problems with the game. But at the same time, I see those updates and I go, why didn't you just wait? Why didn't you just keep this game in the oven just a little? I know it's EA, and EA
they have
is...
They have a quarterly goal to reach that.
Yeah, and it's even more disappointing because the game was not as successful, we also didn't get any... I mean, honestly, I don't think it's that bad, but it's sad in the sense where it's like, there was a whole DLC planned. Like, there was literally a whole expansion with the Quarian race, which is one of the more interesting races of aliens in the Mass Effect universe. And it's like, no, we're not doing it because the game didn't make enough money. So, all right, bye. And it was unfortunate because me and my buddies all bought it, and I found that it's one of the only story-based games that I've just stopped playing. Like, almost every single story-based game I've played, I usually finish it. Like, I'll go to the end. Regardless of how I feel about the game as a whole, I finish games. And that's why it's really sad for me to say that this is another one of those few games that I just gave up halfway through. And it sucks. But that would be what I considered one of my most disappointing of the year. What about you?
You know, it's funny that, like, our most disappointing are very similar. So mine is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. You know, like there's no other way to like. I love the Marvel vs. Capcom series. I love the Marvel vs. Capcom series. It's one of my favorite fighting games. I put with all the flaws, I put tons of hours into Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And when Infinite was announced, you know, I was on this podcast. You know, despite how shitty Street Fighter 5 was, I was cautiously optimistic. And because I never thought we'd get another Marvel, and here we were with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So I was cautiously optimistic, and they got everything wrong.
Yeah,
they got everything. I mean, the gameplay is still, you know, fun.
Yeah,
but like it just goes to show that when everything around it is so bad, it just brings the gameplay down as well. And then I mean, the game is busted. People are still finding unblockables and shit in there, and it's just really disappointing, you know, because similar to you, I was like, oh, this is my chance to get back into Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm really excited. You know, maybe Capcom will use it as an opportunity to bring some old games back. You know, maybe we'll get Gene from God Hand in there. Maybe we'll get Ashura from Ashura's Wrath. No, we get like literally Marvel vs. Capcom 3's roster, and like the lamest part of Marvel vs. Capcom 3's roster too.
Yeah.
And we get the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then you guys just have to hold these nuts. Pretty much how it went. And like I was telling my friend on Thursday, yesterday, if you took 6 characters out of that roster and you put the 6 DLC characters in at launch, I probably would have ended up buying that game.
Yeah.
At least I would have considered it. Because after E3, I was like, I'm not buying this game. There was no world where I was buying this game after
Oh, yeah.
I saw what they had at E3.
Oh yeah, and that
But
E3,
yeah,
the E3 trailer did not do them any justice. Even with the fact that it was cool saying like play it now, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I talked about that I like the fact that I like sometimes when there's trailers that's like, hey, guess what? It's out now. You don't have to wait.
Yeah.
Play it now. But you know what's funny because both Andromeda and this have some similar like thing to them where it's like there is good in them. There's good aspects of the game, but it also makes it's almost like if the game was just a complete trash fire, it wouldn't hurt that much because it would be like you could just laugh at the trash fire. But when the game it's not 100% a trash fire, like some of it's good, but some of it's like really bad, then it becomes like just sort of depressing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a situation where like now, now because this game didn't do very well, the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise might be dead. Like Capcom, it's looking like Capcom isn't going to support the game the way they supported Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
There's no word on if it's going to be included in the Capcom comp. The stupid Battle of the Stones did more harm than good.
Damn it. I wanted that to save it. I wanted it so bad to save it.
It turns out adding all kinds of stupid memes to your tournament is not a good substitute for just good gameplay and good production. You dumbasses. And yeah, now it's looking like the franchise is on the brink again. It's like
yeah. Well, honestly, it's funny because like same thing happened to me. Like I was hoping that because Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012 and there's a whole lot of controversy with the ending, but the game was still good at the end of the day. I still stand by that. The game was still good, and I had a lot of fun time playing it. And it has been one of my favorite DLCs ever. The Citadel DLC is fan-fucking-tastic. Now, I was expecting that they were never going to visit the Mass Effect series again, right? And then when I saw that Andromeda got announced, I was like, great. They've given it like a 5-year like time to breathe, time for people to calm down about how everything went down with the ending, and now we can just go back to Mass Effect with fresh new eyes. And then it's like all this garbage happens, and it's like, well, guess what? The game was a flop in EA's eyes, so that means that we're absolutely not going to see Mass Effect for like years.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's a pity. It's a real pity. But yeah, it's gonna be all uphill from here, guys. So,
yeah, it's all gonna be uphill.
Biggest surprise of 2017. What would you say was your biggest surprise of 2017?
Me? I'm gonna say it's hard to say because there were a lot of surprising things. Like it could be just game announcements and stuff like that. I'm trying to think if there are any ones in particular from 2017. Like if I'm let me think for. I have a game that I think is biggest surprise, but I'm trying to think of any events or something like that was the biggest surprise.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest surprise is just the Nintendo Switch, like straight up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nintendo I feel was on the way down. Like if you think back, the N64, not even the SNES, was their last flat out success. The N64 was a really good console, but it lost to the PlayStation. The PlayStation outsold it, maybe not significantly, but it did outsell it. The GameCube was a flop. It had a lot of really good games on it, but the PlayStation 2
was godlike.
Almost quadrupled its sales.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Wii comes out, and the Wii it sells like hotcakes, and then it sells like crazy for 2 years, and then it flatlines for like the rest of its lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then the less said about the Wii U, the better. So like Nintendo hadn't had a straight up just complete, like no asterisks, is just a straight up complete success in a very long time. And then the Switch comes out.
Yeah.
And I mean it's everything people have wanted. It focused on gamers, and it focused on the core gamers, resulting in insane sales. It's one of the fastest. It's the fastest selling console in North America, ever.
And I, as someone who owns a Switch, I will say this: the idea behind I will say this: they put a lot of effort into making sure, and I think they learned this because of the Wii U. The biggest mistake they made with the Wii U, they put a lot of effort into making it so that there was always a different way to play the games that fit a specific style. Like, if you like the motion controls, there are the motion control Joy-Cons that are quite good. If you just want a classic gamer experience, they've got the Pro Controller setup. Like, they actually, and a lot of games support that. And that was the biggest thing that pissed me off about the Wii U, is that there were so many games that I felt like I had this stupid Fisher-Price toy stapled to my hand, and I couldn't get rid of it. And it was like, it actively made gaming experiences worse. Whereas I feel like they put a lot of time and effort to make this a very modern console. Because a lot of the consoles like Nintendo has created, they feel like a year behind sometimes, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, but like, and then the core gimmick of this console is actually something that I feel is good, long term. A portable home console. Who wouldn't want that? Like, I'd have finished Persona 5 by now if I could play my PS4 on the bus, So yeah, like props to them, and I'm happy because like Microsoft have just screwed the pooch. I thought they were gonna come out strong and like challenge Sony in 2017, and they just completely forgot. They forgot this year actually happened. They're still in 2016. Seriously, what was Microsoft's plan this year?
I have no idea. Like, that was shocking because like the more I think about what Microsoft had planned, like they just like nothing. Like, I think you could honestly, I would say the biggest thing Microsoft had this year was Cuphead to a certain extent. And that wasn't really an exclusive, but it was something that they were boasting as a play first on the Xbox One or PC. And that was honestly, I think, their biggest success this year because Cuphead kicked ass when it came out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing else. So I'm glad that, Nintendo has shown up and has given, and has presented a challenge to Sony, so to keep Sony from, getting overconfident and charging us $599 for their next console. So hats off to Nintendo for remembering that this is still a competition and not, screwing the pooch.
Yeah, and I feel like they've learned a lot. And I think that's honestly is the biggest surprise. For me, it's weird because there's a lot of crazy things that happened this year. But honestly, I'm going to talk about the game that just completely blew me away. And it just came out of nowhere. And it was Doki Doki Literature Club.
Hey.
I was just knew nothing about this game, saw it pop up randomly on a Reddit forum, and I was like, the fuck is this? And then I play it, and I was just, whoa, this is like the best free-to-play game I have ever played. The writing is surprisingly solid, and it did a lot, to not go into too much detail, but it did a lot of stuff that I really liked from Undertale. And it took a lot of cues from Undertale, and like Undertale was my game of the year for 2015, and there was a lot of reason behind that, and Doki Doki Literature Club did a lot similar to that, but it did its own creative twist. And it's really interesting, like the game is still being updated, and there are new things that the creator is adding to it that makes replaying it a much more interesting experience. But yeah, it was definitely the biggest surprise for me because I honestly thought I would never enjoy playing a visual novel before. Which is funny for me to say because I love Persona so much, but it's like when it's just reading and like you click, you make a decision like maybe once an hour. It's like I feel like that would be too boring of an experience, but he really surprised me with this. And I always like the marketing behind these kinds of games where it's like it's just your ordinary visual novel where nothing goes wrong. So I really was surprised by that. So that would be what I would consider my biggest surprise of 2017. All right, so Fawaz, what was your most anticipated game of 2018?
So this is a weird award. So I'm gonna ask you a very simple question, right?
Yeah.
What do Star Wars Battlefront, Street Fighter V, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite all have in common?
So Street Fighter V, Marvel's, they all had terrible launches.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what else they have in common?
No.
They were all my anticipated game for that year.
Oh my god. Holy shit. That's a deep hurt. Like I can see the scar on your back from that.
This award is cursed. So I don't know if I want to give a game this award this year. Because I feel like this
Okay,
award is
can you
extremely
please
cursed.
not say Monster Hunter World so that it's not cursed? Because I will punch you through the monitor if you fuck that up.
So, I mean, I feel like anybody who listens to this podcast already knows what game I'm looking forward to the most in 2018. So I'm just going to leave it at that and see how this plays out.
Okay.
We'll see if we're back here in 2019 and I'm bitching about a certain game that's coming out this month. Then I'm just never going to give this award again. We're just going to be like, this award.
Yeah, see, I'm curious if it's going to be like, I'm going to say mine, and you're going to, oh, that's a good choice.
I mean, we all know what yours is, and we all know what mine is.
Yeah, so mine is obviously Monster Hunter World. Like, I have been waiting for a proper, like, next generation Monster Hunter game for so long. Like, just so long. And yeah, now that I take it back, that was announced this year. So this actually, I'll give it a tie. Biggest surprise and most anticipated goes to Monster Hunter World, because Monster Hunter World got announced this year. I forgot about that.
Yes, E3 2017.
And I wish you were there to see me, because I was borderline close to tears, because I didn't feel like it was happening. Like I saw things on the screen, but I was like, no, these are lies. These are really, really convincing lies that are not happening right now. So yeah, I'm super excited for Monster Hunter World. The beta is fantastic. The amount of quality of life changes that they've made to this game is phenomenal. The amount of like the fact that they found a great compromise to like purists of the series who are like, I don't know how I feel about this English voice acting. I mean, it's okay, but I don't know how to feel about it. And it's like, hey, don't worry. We've got the fake language from the original series that you can just turn on whenever you want. And I'm like, that's such a thing that's like no one would say, oh, you have to do that. That's like, oh, we just did it because that would help ease old fans and help new fans. It helps both audiences. And it's just so shocking to see that from a series that I love but has stayed relatively the same throughout most of its life cycle. So I'm just loving just seeing all these great new changes, and that's why I'm so excited for it. But yeah, obviously, Monster Hunter World is my most anticipated game. Yours is that mystery game that we'll never know, just to avoid the curse. So and then there's just one more wonderful award, which is personally our Game of the Year award. All right, so do you want me to go first, or do you want you to go first?
So I'll go first because mine isn't very long, right?
Okay.
So I realized something when I created this list of awards we're going to give out. I realized I did not buy many games in 2017,
Right.
and I finished even fewer. In fact, I did not finish a single game in 2017.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, because the only games I bought in 2017 were Persona 5. I bought XCOM like late 2016, so it might as well be a 2017 game.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. I played a lot of Overwatch. I played a little bit of The Witcher 3, but I beat The Witcher 3 in 2016, if not even 2015. Yeah. I didn't buy Horizon, I didn't buy Nier, I didn't finish Neo. To the point where I've actually forgotten about that game completely. I didn't finish Neo, I didn't buy Nier, I didn't buy Horizon,
Yeah, but time was a factor. Like I feel like this year for especially you and me, especially this year more than anything, time was a factor. Because, like, me beating Persona 5, I really had to fucking gun it. Like, I had to gun it real hard because it was like I was working part-time and I knew that full-time was coming. And I realized that as soon as I started working full-time, I was just not going to finish that game. Or that game I would still be playing it to this day and have not finished it. So, but yeah, no, I totally get what you mean by that. So I'm very curious then. What is your game of the year then?
I'll give it to XCOM 2.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like on a good day, I would have given it to Persona 5, but I feel like it's just not right to give it to like an 80-hour game that I haven't beaten yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I haven't beaten
it's
XCOM 2 yet,
yeah,
but I've
the
made it to the end like 3 times now.
Right.
So I'm like, whatever's in the ending is not, unless the ending gives you like cancer, it's not going to change my grade of this game. So
Yeah.
I'm like, sure.
Well,
go
you
with
could
that.
say XCOM 2 War of the Chosen then, like, cause
Well, I haven't even played that yet.
wait, what? You
Okay.
haven't even like dipped your toes in War of the Chosen, like not even a little?
But War of the Chosen.
I thought you said you did. And
No.
no, wow. Oh man. Well, okay, XCOM. Let's just say War of the Chosen because it is basically XCOM 2, but just with more features. Because it's like XCOM 2 came out in 2016 for what? You're doing what I did that one year where I said Persona 4 and you're like, Tanner, that game came out like 2 years ago. It's like, I don't care. I played it this year. It gets it now.
Yeah, I mean, the other game is probably Persona 5. Like, I really enjoy the game. It just feels weird giving the award to a game I haven't
Oh, I
beaten.
know exactly.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, XCOM is still good. It's still a good. It's a wonderful, wonderful game, and it's like, it's weird because it's like I love that turn-based style of just command your troops. I've already said tons of things where it's like I spend so much time in that character creator, like just making troops, writing backstories. Just I know you're like, why would you do that? Because they're all gonna die, and I'm like, no.
We're all going to die. And Tyler's like, ha ha ha, that's what you think.
That's what you
I've
think.
got this load button here.
You can't stop me.
I've got this nifty time machine, and no one's ever going to die. Not on my watch.
How do you think we beat the aliens? We found the ability to travel through time before they did. But basically, yeah. This was really hard for me because honestly, I could not, in good conscience, award this to a game that I didn't beat because I want the full experience, right? And it's hard for me because there was a lot of games that I played, but there was only really a couple that I actually beat like fully this year, right? And honestly, the biggest tie for like the games that I had the most consistent enjoyment of were Breath of the Wild, like Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Persona 5. And I feel like Persona 5 gets it because like Persona 5 felt like it felt more like a Persona game to me, and it felt true to the heart, and it felt more like a vast improvement over the formula. And it was really, really it had everything I wanted out of a game. Like, you know, I had a lot of moments where I was laughing, I had a bunch of epic moments, had a bunch of like really like sad moments in it too that I really thought were really emotional and well done. And I really, really like how it ended. It had a really, really awesome final encounter. And the music was fantastic. And that's another big thing is that I care a lot about like a game's soundtrack and how they can tie that into the story.
Yeah.
Like, and Persona just nails it when it comes to that aspect. It was just one of my personal favorite things. And the gameplay was just so vastly improved over the others that I was just blown away by, like, I'm having so much fun grinding in this RPG. I can't say that. There's not many RPGs in this game that I've played, or JRPGs, but in that matter, that I can say I had fun grinding because the fucking Baton Pass system is so good. It's so good. So honestly, when I think about it, it was pretty close because there was a lot of really great things in Breath of the Wild. But I think when I think about overall enjoyment, I think Persona 5 for me personally would be my game of the year. But yeah, and now before we finish up, we've got one last thing. We got a question of the day from the wonderful J Streets.
Shout out to J Streets.
And his question is, what are your early 2018 video game bold predictions? They can be anything video game related that has equal chance of being right or wrong. Bold predictions. Do you want me to throw some out? Well,
I've got one.
oh, you got one? Okay.
And this is the year.
This is the year.
Cyberpunk 2077. Lock it in, baby. Lock it in.
You heard it here first. I'm the timestamp is an hour and 14 into the recording. Fawaz says that Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out in 2018.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're finally going to see it.
Oh, we're going to see it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we get a teaser, if we get a trailer, then...
If we get anything Cyberpunk 2077 related that isn't them talking about how awesome this game is going to be. God, I hate when developers do that shit.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, like especially when we're talking about the whole Death Stranding thing, and it's like, I've got more content from Death Stranding than I have from Cyberpunk at this point. and Cyberpunk has been out for long. Well, had been revealed for longer. But they made they made the mistake of like they revealed that way too fucking early. Like.
Oh yeah, see? They announced it 4 years ago.
They announced it before Witcher 3 was done.
Yes, they announced it in January on January 10th, 2013. It's going to be 5 years by the time this podcast goes up, actually.
Yeah.
Way too early. So yeah, I say this year is the year. We will get some gameplay. We will get some information by this time next year. We will know what Cyberpunk 2077 is all about.
Yeah.
Quote. Locked in.
All right. Bold video game predictions. I'm gonna say one. I'm pretty certain that we're gonna get Devil May Cry. I think Devil May Cry 5 is on the horizon, and I think it's gonna be good. I think this is the one where they're gonna return to their roots, especially with some of the leaks that they've hinted of. But I think Devil May Cry is gonna come back, and it's gonna be we're gonna respect our audience this time. And we're going to take the lessons from Bayonetta and all of our other games, or all the other like action-y kind of games that have come out in the previous years, and really integrate it well into the next Devil. Because I feel like this is going to be a surprise year. I think this is going to be a year where Devil May Cry might make a comeback, like a really, really big comeback. And the other one, which I don't think is as bold, but it is bold to a certain extent. I think that this is going to be the year that Monster Hunter really breaks into the mainstream. Yeah. I really think that with World, this is going to be the one that people are going to be talking about. This is going to be the one that people are going to be playing. And this is like the one that's like, oh yeah, Monster Hunter, right? And it's not going to be like that niche topic that like only a couple people know. It's going to be mainstream. And that and people are going to know about it, and that's going to be really, really fascinating and fun for the year. Like, I cannot if you had asked me last year if like Monster Hunter was going to be at E3 and Fawaz was going to want to play it, I would have said, "Fuck you, that's never going to happen." So yeah, that's my bold prediction. I think Devil May Cry is going to come back. It's going to come back better than ever. And I think Monster Hunter is going to actually break into the mainstream to a certain extent. I think it's going to actually become like a big name title for Capcom, like bigger than it's ever been.
Okay.
But Greg,
I think his predictions have a higher chance of happening than mine. But hey,
we'll see. These are meant to be bold. There's nothing that would make me more happy that tomorrow there's a trailer for 2077. Oh, wouldn't that be something? Holy shit. But yeah, if you got a question for us, don't forget to leave it in the comment section, and we'll make sure to answer in the next podcast. And as always, this is your host, Freedom Liberty, and
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.